very good evening to you, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. I hope you've had a lovely day today after everything that we've gone through as a country. And my greatest wish is that all of you are home, you're safe, your families and your loved ones are safe. And we want to talk about a conversation this evening on the Power Talk Show. I am your host, Sheryl Blessing, and one of the conversations we've been focusing on, one of the main topics, is the men's mental health. And the month of June is the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've done a number of conversations just to highlight some of the issues that our men are going through. And even today, we do not fail to recognize that our men are dealing with a lot more that sometimes society expects from them, society subjects them to, and the world. You know, there's that thing about carrying a heavy burden on your shoulder. And I want us to talk about how we can overcome some of the challenges that life sends our ways, especially challenges that we feel like they're almost impossible to get over, and challenges that are so devastating, loss that you can't even put into words. And I'm joined this evening by a gentleman who's going to share his story. And I'm loving his energy. He's such a powerful, powerful guy. I'm here with Brian Mathia. And Maithia, thank you. Ukwaje, Brian? I'm loving your energy. Brian is the founder of Bliss Impact. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm very much okay. Energetic and excited.
I love that.
Yeah, about whatever is happening here.
Sindio, I love that energy. Unajua, hata mimi nakujanga huku na masaik sana. Sometimes people wonder when I'm going to work, you know, when you're so excited about having different conversations and meeting new people. This is one of the conversations that I've been looking forward to, I think, for the entire month. Because the story it's very, very touching, you know, it's very emotional, it's very moving. And then meeting you today and seeing you, I'm just so inspired. Honestly, I love the vibe. So if you want to know what we're talking about, you have to stay tuned and listen to this conversation this evening. So I've asked you a question on our social media platforms so that you engage with me as we continue with our story today. I've asked you, do men get enough space to grieve in peace or in silence? That is what I want to hear from you. Do you think men get enough space to grieve? And do they do it in silence? Or are they given platforms and spaces for them to be vulnerable enough? That is what I want to hear from you today. We're having a conversation with Brian about a man's truth beyond the pain and beyond the everyday experience. So go on our platforms at Y254 and share, because I know so many people are going through a lot, especially with what's going on in the country currently. So sometimes you don't have a platform, and maybe you don't have a place to voice your opinions, to talk freely. This is the platform. So go on our comments at Y254 across all socials and let us know what you think about this conversation. Now, let me start with introducing Brian, the guy. So you have founded Bliss Impact. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, Bliss Impact is I can say is born or constructed from the word bliss. Bliss is a breakdown of Brian and Liz. Okay, Liz is a girl who went to be with the Lord. After 2 years in marriage, and the tagline of that Bliss Impact is birthing after burying. You can birth after burying, you know, because. So I just wanted to have her, or rather to just have something that is running for her legacy. Because she was a lover of peace. She was such a girl who loved giving to the less fortunate. She had partnered with some few cancer care centers in the country. So I said we can't just bury her like that. There must be something germinating from all this burying. So that's how Bliss Impact was.
I love the way you're describing this lady, because we know the name Liz. We don't know who Liz is. We just know she's not with us anymore.
Yes.
But tell us just, before we get into that, tell us about Brian, you, the man, before, like, what's your life been like to the point where you got to founding the Bliss Foundation. So what's your journey been like? Who are you? Who would you say you are?
Okay, myself, if I could just put who I am in few sentences, what has molded me? First of all, I'm a lover of God. I'm a friend to the Holy Spirit, because after everything happened, See, when we say what a friend we have in Jesus,
Yeah.
people leave, parents can leave, family can leave, friends can leave, even church can leave. But that close friend in the Holy Spirit, right, is what has molded who Bran has become past the pain. Because I know we'll be now getting into the story. So for me to move from Bran to Bliss Impact, it's been a journey. It's been a journey of almost like a year or two of grief. And I said, so for long will we grieve when we're just stagnating and we are not doing anything? You know, and back in the church, this year the prophetic word is rebuilding. It's coming from, I think, the book of Isaiah 52:18.
Yeah. And
our mother in the church has called us back to rebuilding. Last year, 2024, was also rebuilding. So I said, now this year, why would God repeat the same word? So it's time to let go of the past pains and the pain points and try to change them to PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And that's how I said, now this year I partner with God to make me what He wanted me to be. So that's Bran, the man who is still in the process of being made. I'm still a man in the making. Because after everything that happened, which we're about to get into, you can only partner with Him to make you what He really wants you to be and why you were left. Because I believe after your spouse has run their race and they are gone and you're left, there's a reason for being left, right? So you have to partner with Him who knows the reason, so that He's able to show you the way. Because I believe that getting into a crossroad is not the end of the road.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to find the crossroad. Means you have so many roads. So without the Holy Spirit, without God who has allowed you to go through the pain, you can't know which exactly is the road forward after the loss.
You need guidance.
Exactly.
And I really love that you're saying that, because the conversation we were having even before, we were talking briefly about the way sometimes we don't know the plan. Like right now with what's happening in the nation, we've lost a lot of lives. People have died. Parents have buried young kids. You know, people have lost fathers, brothers, cousins. There's been a lot of bloodshed. And the quote that you've said is the tagline of your foundation is birthing after burying. And right now, where we are at, people feel pain. People feel there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, because we don't understand what was the point. Like, someone is dead, what's the point? And you're talking about you finding partnership and meaning through your relationship with God. It's only through God that you'll figure out what the point is. But now tell us, because now we've learned that Bran you're a Christian and you're a founder of a company. But tell us, because the audience will love to know, something very significant happened in 2020, aside from COVID-19. So tell us just what happened in 2020.
2020, wow, a lot of stuff happened. Actually, I could go still back to late 2019. Late 2019, around October 11th. That's when we began to date. That's when a girl I had befriended for 1 year. Because I met that girl on the 26th of August, 2018.
I love the way you remember the dates.
I do. They are here. So I tried to just get to know her for 1 year, right? Who is this girl? And also, of course, she was doing better than me, so I was also afraid of approaching her. You know, when you ladies are doing better than us men, we'll always chicken out. We'll chicken out from approaching you, because maybe you're looking for what the man is driving, rather than what drives the man. So I was afraid of. So 2018, for one year until 2019 October, at Karura Forest, that's when the girl told me, today you have passed all the tests and we can now begin to date. And she told me, I'm yours.
Nice.
So October 2019, we begin to date. 2 weeks later, I get a job. The Bible says that whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with God. So that was a wife, even when she was still a girlfriend. Because 2 weeks later, favor began to follow me. I was seeking for a job for like 3 years since graduating. I graduated back in 2016. And for those 3 years, I'm tamaking until my job became tamaking. So early 2020, we opened an account, a joint account, to begin to save for our wedding. 2 weeks later, you know. Then 2020 before COVID, of course, so those are key things that happened in late 2019, early 2020. The opening of our joint account and beginning to date. That's when now I'm somewhere and we are heading somewhere.
Yeah.
Around the same time before COVID, of course, we had already sat down. How many kids do we want?
You talked about everything, finances.
Exactly, and kids. And she was asking me, how many kids do you want? I told her, of course, 3. At the first born, of course, she must be a girl. What's the name? And I'm telling her, you tell me, you'll be the carrier. And she told me, you are the head of the family. What's the name? And I told her, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pick a piece of paper, you piece of paper. Write what is in your mind as the name of our baby girl. And we wrote. And the names rhymed, and we had not talked about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Greek, I think the Greek translation for Esther, Hadassah.
Yeah.
That's the name each of us wrote.
Nice. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I'm also loving, very significant things I've picked from your story.
Yeah.
First, you waited a whole year to get to know her before you started dating.
Exactly.
And it was because you were intimidated kidogo. And that also speaks about what men are going through these days. In the dating scene, kuna pressure. It's about what do you bring to the table, to do 50-50. There's a lot of materialistic expectations that go into it. So that puts pressure on you guys. But you knew Liz was the one. You knew from the get-go this is the woman you wanted to be with.
Yes, I knew that. Actually, that fear also pushed me to, we had a group we called Bethel. Bethel in the Bible, I think it means something nice, right? I can't remember. But that group we were meeting, ladies, guys, after church we are praying, and we were praying for spouse, for each other. I tell you the truth, I was praying for her to get a husband. I was feeling I'm not good enough for this girl. Yeah. And I'm praying even in tongues, Lord, bring that man to her. At the back of my mind, I know I love her. I'm interested. I'm attracted to her, but I don't want to make the move because I don't want to take no for an answer, and it will even break the small self-esteem I have. So I was praying for her to get. Yeah.
The struggle. But eventually, Liz was also on your vibe.
Liz was waiting.
Yeah, Liz was also praying about you. Who knew? Like, maybe alikuwa na vet. Unaona venye unasema tume checklist. Alikuwa anaangalia, is he a prayer warrior? Check. Can he speak in tongues? Check. Does he have discernment? So, that also speaks to sometimes the thing that we want, that we think we don't deserve, is meant for us. Yeah. It's also wanting us. So I think we have to go beyond our fear. We have to look beyond our doubts and just go for what we want.
Exactly.
So what gave you the courage? Eventually, when you decided, let me talk to her and tell her how I'm feeling, what gave you the courage that day?
Let me tell you, that day, I asked myself a question, and this is the question I asked myself. Nitafilaje, Liz tuko church pamoja, right? We in the praise and worship together, because we serve in the we used to serve in the praise and worship. I'm still there. She was a soprano, I was a tenor. Sometimes we could stand next to one another in the way our praise and worship is arranged. And I asked myself, what will I feel if another guy, gathered the courage, approached the girl, and she's gone from the same church, and I see her. We used to live from Karen to town together. Now she's living in another dude. And I did not approach her and gotten a no for an answer, right? So I said, let me try. I be rejected. So that even when I see her with another dude,
at least tulijaribu.
I try. It's not like Peter. It's like Peter in the boat. These guys were so comfortable in the boat.
Sat there.
They were laughing at him, but he tried. He experienced and he had an experience of walking on water, regardless of the fact that he walked for a few steps. That was
It took courage for him to do that.
Exactly. So I had to gather myself, do my 3-piece suit, which I had been given by the guy who ended up being my best man. He gave me a 3-piece. I did the 3-piece and I went. I bought some 50 roses. I think 10 bob each. It was I spent like 500. I bought them. And some white chocolate because she had told me I'd done my due diligence. she was a white chocolate person, so I bought everything she needed.
Ladies, I feel like, ladies, if you're hearing this, first, find a man who's intentional. Because if a man wants to, he will. Men, I hope you're listening. You know, don't just desire someone uko hapo unatamani Liz na hata ujui anapenda chocolate gani. Hey?
I did my background.
Ulikuwa unafanya research. You knew.
Research over research.
You were ready.
I knew she was a red person, so I went for red roses.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
And you know, that also shows intentionality. You didn't just go because you wanted. And it also shows, I'm learning that it's not lust you had. You cared for her.
Yeah.
You were keen. You wanted to know, what does she like?
Yeah.
What does she appreciate? You wore a suit. Me apo. That's the part that gets me. That is the part that gets me. Sasa ukaenda.
You'll be shocked she was not a suit person.
Yeah.
She came to give me a banter.
So eventually she was like, wow, you were doing too much.
Bro, unapokuja kudona na suit na feel nafanya interview.
Uko serious sana. Batu t-shirt.
But that day, I had to look my best.
I love that.
Yeah, I had to just, because if you're serious, people will take you serious.
They do.
Yeah.
And you were very, very intentional.
Yeah.
You went, she accepted, because she was also vetting you. Behind the scenes, well, unajua but.
Yeah.
And then sasa eventually, let me also get to, a few months later, you opened a joint account to start planning for the wedding. And even before that, you've mentioned you were talking about your life after the wedding, your life after marriage, which is also important, because I feel like so many people these days, we romanticize the idea of a wedding, but we don't have the important conversations. We don't talk about, how are you? Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? How do you react when you're angry?
Exactly,
you know, when we're broke, what are we going to do? We don't have the deeper conversation. So you prepared for all that, and you intentionally started planning for a wedding by saving.
Yes. Yeah, because you know, one thing I think that is killing many relationships and marriages if you don't address the money issue.
Yeah.
Right? The moment you allow money to come in between you, even when you're dating, it's a red flag. Let me tell you, it's something that needs to be addressed to mapema. So I knew that for us to open a joint account, we are now beginning to build trust. It's a test of trust. Because we said we're not going to be sending one person money to forward. You send, I send me the confirmation, accountability. So we began to address the issue of money. Because if you can't address it during dating, you're not going to address it during marriage.
Exactly. Because, you know, money is one of those sensitive issues where when you bring money, ati parents, wazazi wa mtu, you have to talk about that before.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I recently watched, I rewatched a movie about people who were getting married. So they were dating, they were so in love. But then one person, the lady hadn't met the mom of the guy. Yeah. And the mom of the guy was those moms who are nitpicky. No, I don't think you're good enough for my son. You need to do this. You're not doing that enough. You're bad. Unajifanya sana. You know, do you know that almost cost them their whole relationship because they did not have that conversation before. And you need to have those conversations. And you did, you were planning, you were ready. Yeah. So I'm assuming ilikuwa before, when you started the joint account, it was before COVID.
It was before COVID because it was 1 month. It was 2 weeks after dating, after we started dating. Okay. Remember we started, so it's early November. Yeah. When I'm getting a job, right? And at that time we are making commitments, and I'm jobless, right? And after now 2 weeks is when I got now a job. Yeah. So when we are opening that bank account, she told me, love, because you're not working, we open the account, we do 5K. You're not working, you do 3, I do 3, you do 2. I said yes. I only had 200 to buy her juice down here at some hotel down here in town, around Archives. But I said, yes, I'm going to get the 2K. So sometimes we put also faith in what we want. Let me tell you, when I got home, if I digress a little bit, I got home, I'm in the tech industry, and I'm a hands-on person. So I used to make cables. Ethernet cables. No, I know the tech guys here knows the Ethernet cables. Yeah. So I could buy a ream of like 305 meters. I cut it into 3 meters, 1 meters. I got home, and in our apartment there was this wall sockets, the data points. And I find 2 ladies waiting for me. We need you to install for us a router and connect it to the to the data points in our room, in our houses, and configure it with our custom SSID. I did that. Guess what I got? 2,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
So God responded immediately.
Yeah,
because you put faith.
Yeah, and because by the time I'm getting home, the girl had already sent her 3K to me.
Eish.
So putting
I'm
pressure.
loving that.
Ah, goodness. So I told her, love, I've also gotten my 2K. I forwarded to Hekima account, and we were good. By the next month, I have a job. We pushed it to 5.5. So we began to do 10.
I love that. So how long after did you have the wedding? Because eventually in 2020, that's when you had your wedding.
Yeah.
So how many months later? Because I imagine with COVID, it disoriented the plans kidogo.
They did not, because we did not allow the COVID to just, because there was something coming. So a slight adjustment on our wedding for even a week.
Yeah.
We could not have had it.
So you planned the date when you were opening the account. You
Yes.
knew exactly when we're getting married,
Yeah.
and you locked it in regardless of whatever is happening around. This is our day.
Exactly.
How did that planning go? That must have been so fascinating.
It was a hard one, because here we are. We've already begun to save, and we are saving. Then March, COVID hits. The same March is when my probation is coming to an end. Am I being confirmed? I'm not sure. Anyone who is on probation, of course, it's not any medical cover. Not any medical cover. So the guys on contract, they began to be, of course, the organization has to protect everyone.
Yeah.
So I saw some guys being given letters here and there, and I was like, good, let's have the next one. And we are saving for our wedding. Let me tell you, someone resigned from the department, IT department.
So you got absorbed like that.
So at least we were able to keep now pushing for our wedding and all that, right? So the planning was of course we had issues because of finances. They were not looking so good in terms of, you're putting 10K, and our wedding is coming on 21st of November, 2020. So we have basically 1 year.
Yeah.
So 1 year, 12 times 10, 120.
Not enough.
And where I come from.
When you think about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were trusting God, and we even began to contemplate pushing the wedding. But we had some prayers with my wife's bro and his girlfriend, who now is the wife, right? And we were praying we could meet one Friday, the last Friday of the month, for Acacia. So this one Friday we are praying, and we are just from talking with Liz and saying, hey, the way things look, we got to postpone our wedding. We have not told no one. Then this lady, just amidst the prayers, she's prophesying, and she tells us that God is saying, do not postpone your wedding, because something is coming in April. We had talked about getting our kids immediately. Yeah. Right? And we just began to say, it's the key. Wedding is 21st November. April is basically 5 months, barely 5 months after the wedding. So Hadassah is on her way. Hadassah is on her way. So you shoot your shots immediately after. And because like, now we are locked in. But then you were sure. And because we are working, we did not want to wait. We just want to grow with our babies. And then I think also with the 2020, it made things make you realize, take your chances right now. Don't stop living at it for tomorrow or whatever. Exactly. Do it today. So you pushed through. The wedding was a success. Kabisa. I love that. Yeah, I proposed on the 13th of September, 2020. Then oh goodness. Then a few weeks later, I did my ratio. Then 2 weeks later, the wedding. Very beautiful wedding. I love that. Yeah. I love the way you're also smiling. Like we can tell when a man is in love. Because first, remembering the dates. Hey, wanaume wenye najua wengi, unaombianga ati, babe unajua ni anniversary yetu, wako like, they have to scroll up, you know, and find the chart. So when did we start? You're cooking something because you need a chocolate. You know, now it looks like you're lying all of a sudden. But I love that you are very keen. Yeah. You remember the dates of every single event. You remember how it happened. Yeah. So it shows you really, really loved Liz. Yeah, so much with everything I had. I love that. So in April, you were looking forward to a baby. You wanted a bundle of joy. What are you saying? And you see, God has already given you a name, remember? Yeah. So Hadassah was coming. You know, and you know who Esther was in the Bible. Yeah, she's a queen. I think she's one of my favorite characters of the Bible. So we were seeing, you see, through Esther, that's when the Jews that's how the Jews were prevented from being exterminated.
Yeah.
So we were seeing a savior of a generation, Hadassah saving her generation in whichever generation she would have been.
Yeah.
So that's what we were waiting for in April. Shock on us.
So what happened?
Oof. So that day of the wedding, the girl, of course, Liz was this perfectionist. So she wanted her wedding to be on top of everything, every service provider. So she lost a lot of weight. The last one month of the planning.
Okay.
But of course, at least the gown was.
And you know, I'm not gonna lie. For the ladies, that's our dream come true. Ati
Exactly.
losing weight before the wedding, because I will look so hot in these
Flat tummy.
photos. Ati flat tummy. Unafaa usikie venye hapo tu kwa studio na ngoja nimeze tumbo kwanza. Ndio saa for the photos.
Yeah. So that day of the wedding, we woke up at around 3
Yeah.
to pray. We're just committing the day before God, and my girl is asking me, "Do you remember your vows?" Because we did not want to read our vows. We wanted just to speak what is in the heart.
From the heart, yeah.
And I told her, I'm trying, but of course, I will not insult you. I will tell you something sweet.
Yeah.
Even if I
Acha
forget what is written,
nikisahau.
it will be a...
We'll look for something.
Yeah, so that day, the day started well, and of course, we got to church a little bit late. The 10K went with the pastor.
Oh,
And
no.
the wedding was a beautiful one because she had always dreamt of having her wedding in our church where I fellowship. And God just honored that wish. That's why we did our wedding.
Yeah.
Then after we are done, of course, the processes and all that, I don't need to go there. Then now we go to a photo shoot venue. So on our way, she tells me that she's feeling some toothache on her right cheek. She's feeling that toothache and all that, and I tell her, maybe you're just overwhelmed by the entire thing happening today. It's gonna be well. I used just to encourage her. So we did our photo shoot, then we did our reception at the Ndigwa.
Ooh.
It's called which garden? Sagret Gardens.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's
I'm lucky. I wish I was at that wedding. Like, I'm just picturing it and I was like, wow.
that's the same place I did the proposal.
Oh.
Exactly, where some guys.
Okay, Brian, I feel like you need to stop making me feel like, oh my God. Because the intentionality, I'm like, wow, I wish I experienced and saw this love story.
It was a beautiful one.
It was
a beautiful one. And so we get there, people are dancing, and just people are having fun.
Yeah.
Fun of their life, and the girl is happy. And we finished everything, and it was now time to proceed to the hotel where we were to spend the night. By the time we are getting there, the cheek is swollen so badly. So badly, and I was like, no, what's happening? You think like you've danced that much that, and
something happened.
And she was in so much pain. So through the help of our best couple, we got some diclofenac, and they brought us to the hotel, and they left. We were just there, and I'm praying with her, and I'm telling her it's gonna be well. I'm encouraging her like the husband,
Yeah.
Now you're mine, you're my wife.
Hey.
And I'm here, I'm your strength, I'm your
in.
pillar of strength. So I'm almost tempted to make a joke. But she took the diclofenac, the pain subsides and all that. Yeah, and we slept. Of course, you have to choose which pain.
And sometimes when you're in pain, and especially when I'm imagining it's supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Kwanza for women, kwetu yetu ni dramatic. Yeah. Wedding day yangu nimevaa hivi white, ati niishe nikienda hosi. Yeah. No.
So it was a bad one. It was not a good night. It was not really a good night, and I had just to just tell her that it's gonna be well.
Yeah.
And in the morning, of course, we wake up, we check out at around 10. We had some vouchers we needed to redeem in one of the supermarkets. We passed by there and we went home. The next day, of course, that is on a Sunday. On Monday, we have to catch a flight to Mombasa. And we can't cancel the flight, and she's swollen really bad. So we bought more diclofenac.
Because at this point, it's just painkillers. And then, sometimes we neglect a toothache. Unashindwa, maybe ni meno inamea. Maybe I ate something that affected me.
Yeah.
We really dismiss the pain.
So we proceeded to Mombasa, South Coast, Diani, and it was pain. Let me tell you, it was pain. It was pain. I could see the girl in so much pain. Because now at this point, the swelling is increasing. She has to take some stuff. She needs to eat there, so there are things she can't eat. And we are there to have fun. So was it even fun?
And you know it's much worse when you're not at home.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had to travel back. We of course, it was 4 or 5 days of pain and all that. So on Saturday, we had to travel back. We had already spoken to our best couple of what is happening, and they had already organized us some dental center to go for a checkup somewhere around, I think, Hurlingham.
Yeah.
We went in on a Sunday. On a Sunday
As
morning,
soon as you
she
came
could
back.
she could not take it anymore. So we had to go to the checkup. Remember,
And I want to let me hold it right there. Tuende break alafu turudi.
sawa.
Cause mi bado mi nataka nibaki kwa hiyo fairy tale kidogo. Nataka bado ni dance kwa hiyo harusi. But then it's so fascinating the way everything just escalated immediately.
Very fast.
But I want to know what happened, what's the diagnosis. But before you tell me what happened and everything that happened after, I want us to take a very short break. Kidogo tu, tuende tukunywe maji.
Okay.
You know, watu wa nyumbani, tafuta snacks. Kimbia mbio mbio, si ndio?
yeah, kweli.
Because, I'm telling you, we have such a deep story that we're sharing on set today. And we want everyone to be on board. We want to figure out why is Brian smiling this much when Liz ni kama hayuko, you know. So let's take a very short break. Go on our platforms at 254 meanwhile and tell us, do you think men are given enough space to grieve? And do we give them the platforms? Do we give them the, just the encouragement? And are we there? Do we support our men in their grief? Tell us by going to our platforms at 254 and stay tuned because we'll come back. Brian is going to tell us more about what happened and how he dealt with everything else. So stay tuned for all that. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. I hope you've had a lovely day. Welcome back to the Power Talk Show. I am your host, Sheryl Blessing, and I am joined on set by Brian, who's telling us a very fascinating story of ni love, ni fairy tale, but, you know, fairy tales, they also have their dark sides and their sad moments. So as we're continuing to listen to his story this evening, I want you to go to our platforms at 254. We understand there is so much that's happening, not just in the country, in the world. And for the past few years, months, you know, a lot is going on, especially with our men, our young men, our older men. We want to hear from you. Tell us, how are you dealing with the grief? How are you dealing with some of the stress that life is throwing away? Tell us a personal story of how you've overcome a challenge that you felt like, this is too much. I don't even know how I'm going to go from here. Go on our platforms at 254 and let us know. Do we even give men the space to grieve? Tell us by going to our platforms at 254. I can't wait to hear your comments. I want to give the men a platform because this month I've been all about the guys. I'm all about the men because we need our men to be healthy. We need our men to be okay. We need our men to be strong because that's the only way we can continue on. And we need to address some of the issues that, you know, ziko ndani kwa roho and saa ingine you can talk to anyone. And Brian is sharing with us a very interesting story of him experiencing love, him experiencing loss. So many questions, not enough answers, but we're trying to figure out what is the point and how do we deal with everything. So you've just told us about, let me call her the love of your life. It feels like she is.
That girl was just something.
This is Liz. You met in church. You courted her. You were friends for a year. Ulikuwa unaangalianga unasema huu dem, huyu nimekumark. Mungu akasema ni sawa. I've given Liz to you. And then on the day when you're celebrating your union on your wedding day, she starts getting a toothache. Kitu kidogo tu. Toothache, I feel like, especially as an adult, there are times when I've had a toothache and I'm like, wa, hizo meno sasa zinamea, zile meno za huko nyuma kabisa. And we dismiss pains like that. We dismiss headaches. We dismiss stomachache. You know, but it did not go away. The pain didn't go away. So you even went on your honeymoon for 5 days to the South Coast. And then you came back on a Sunday. You had to rush to hospital.
Exactly.
So tell us what happened.
So the doctor, of course, the first thing, the doctor wanted to know what is in there. So she was a she dentist. So she sent us to Nairobi Hospital for a scan. So we went, did a scan, and we brought back the scan, and she said, yeah, there's something. I think it's the molar or premolar or something is growing while pushing the other teeth.
Oh.
So it needs to be removed. No one knew there was something else right above that tooth, which was now causing that. So she booked us for Wednesday. That's on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because there was some medication she gave her for, I think, acclimation or something. It's called some medication which was just supposed to do something in preparation for Wednesday. So on Wednesday we wake up, and my girl cannot wait to get to the doctor for this thing to be removed because it's causing her sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, I imagine.
It's 2 weeks, barely 2-3 weeks in marriage. How does it start?
Yeah.
You understand? So we went, the tooth was removed, and there was some relief, but now the socket is not healing. A normal tooth, when it's extracted, we expect the socket to heal within a month. Maybe if your immunity is down, within a month or month and a half. That is early December, January, and part of Feb. The thing is not healing. So we got concerned, right? And we had to go back now to a different dental center for another checkup. Sorry. And the surgeon we found there removed so much internal pus or something. Yeah. So he removed a lot of stuff, and he said, no, this is abnormal, and we need to do an advanced scan, I think CT scan. He sent us to Vital Ray in Upper Hill. We went, did the CT scan, and we returned back to Vimac Dental Center. And the surgeon said, the maxillofacial surgeon, he said, there is something right above the jaw. You know, that sorry, that on its own, it's not a good news when you hear there is something.
Because what is something? Something is very vague.
And the doctor tells us, for us to know what exactly it is, we need to do a biopsy. And biopsy, I had not heard of what biopsy is. It entails cutting some piece of meat where that swelling is. Then it's taken to a lab for analysis and all that. Let me tell you, so he told us to go to his clinic along Thika Road. We did the biopsy, and he told us to take it to Lancet. Lancet is a laboratory along Gong Road. And we went there, and after 2 weeks, the results were out. So they were sent to him, and he called us. So I told my wife, let's go. I'm not leaving you. We are in this together.
Yeah, let's
find out. So I took an afternoon off, and we went, took a cab. We got there, and the doctor, of course, he had what to tell us. And he looked at me like this, and he told me, Brian, brace yourself to walk a very tough journey with your wife. That already is a shock on me.
Yeah.
I just got married. What are you telling me? And the doctor told me, your wife has a tumor right above the jaw. And it's one of the rare tumors, very aggressive. It's growing so fast. And you can't wait. Tomorrow, that was on the 31st. That was on 31st March 2021. Right? Remember, someone said April something is coming.
April there's going to be some news.
So he tells us, tomorrow you need to see a maxillofacial surgeon at Kenyatta Hospital. It's 1st April. And now I remembered. So this is what my sister-in-law was talking about when she talked about something was coming. This was what was coming. Ready. Yeah, and let me tell you, we left the clinic, and on our way, my wife is crying. Liz is crying, and I'm trying to play strong. And we're in that matatu, and she's telling me, love, I have cancer. Because now I asked the doctor, is it malignant? Is it cancerous? And he told me, unfortunately, yes, it is cancerous. And it's aggressive. See, they will tell you as it is.
That's not encouraging.
Let me tell you,
at all.
I could see Liz crying, and I get moved, I begin to cry, but I have to look to the other side because we're seated like this. This is the window. I look at this side, I wipe the tears. And I
you
come
have to
back to
be
her.
strong.
And one thing I remember told her, I'm with you in this. I said for better, for worse, not for better, for better. And she could tell me, thank you, love. Thank you. We got home. Of course, we cried together. I told her, please allow me to cry with you. Let's cry together. Let's let it out and accept that this is what we are dealing with, but we're going to go through it. I'm not going to leave you. The next morning, we are at Kenyatta. And guess what the maxillofacial surgeon tells us? They need to remove the eye. Because the tumor is now touching the orbit, the eye cup. The way the eye goes in, the tumor was right below it. And I began to picture a newly wedded girl with one eye. And I was like, no, this is not happening. And I remember saying, no, let us seek a second opinion. We went to Nairobi Hospital. Maxillofacial surgeon told us the same thing. And I remember calling my mentor in church, one of the men I honor so much. He walked that journey with me, and he told me, Brian, no, let's seek a third opinion. And during that time, one of the senior staff where I work had a contact in another maxillofacial, I think radiologist in Aga Khan, and he connected me with him, and he paid. He told me, Brian, take your wife to Aga Khan, let's get a third opinion, and I will pay everything that will be needed today. Support. People surrounding you. So we went, and the Aga Khan, they are so thorough, so they did not want to ride on results from other people. So they told me, go collect the biopsy tissue. We will need to do another test to just confirm what Lancet has said it is what it is. And they confirmed it is. And they told me, Brian, the fact this tumor it's not operable. It cannot be operated. So what exactly? I mean, we need to subject your wife to chemotherapy to bring the tumor down to an operable state. Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and Liz began chemotherapy. We did 6 sessions of chemotherapy. Very strong chemotherapy. It knocked her down when I'm with her in the house. She was going. She dried up when I'm with her in the house, and I'm alone. And I remember rushing her to hospital, and she was able to come back and all that. So we finished, they brought down the dosage so that she is able to go through. So we finished the chemotherapy, they did the scan, and they said the tumor is still not operable. We need to go to the next phase of treatment, radiotherapy. Let me tell you, I've never seen anything like that. That girl, because it was head and neck, so they were subjecting her to radiation around here. She turned black within a couple of days. And I'm like, if I married Liz because of beauty, I'll be out. But I married her for who she was to me, not for what she had. So we did the radiotherapy. And after radiotherapy, of course, it's a post-treatment scan. The scan showed she cannot still be operated. We went to another treatment called immunotherapy. It had just been introduced in the country. Very expensive treatment. But by God's grace, we were able to go through 6 sessions. They did a post-treatment scan, and they're telling me, Brian, still this thing cannot be operated. Unfortunately, it is being treated. It goes down 1 step, then it just shoots 3 steps. It's an aggressive kind of a thing. We rarely see that type of a cancer. I don't know what it was. I don't know. So they told me, so I asked them, what's the way forward? And this is what they're telling me. We need to take her through another one more immunotherapy. And I asked them, so if 6 have not done anything, what will one do? I think it's the high time I take my wife to India. And they told me, you have our blessing. You go. We've done every best treatment we could give her, but go try. Yeah, and they got the documentations, the histopathology report ready and all that. And of course, through the church, family and friends, was able to put together resources. My flight tickets were catered for by my people in my workplace. People, like that support. And we went. When we got to India, oh goodness, we got to India around 11 p.m. No, I don't know no one. I don't know no one. And there is no roaming. I don't know no one. So I'm looking for someone who has a placard written Brian. And Liz is tired. I'm pushing her with a wheelchair. and I'm pushing the bags. So I could push her, leave her somewhere, come for the bags, push them. I push her. She got tired and she got mad at me. Eventually, by God's grace, we were able to trace the guy, and he took us to the hotel. Let me tell you, in the morning, I washed her, and when I was washing that girl, she looked at herself in the mirror and she asked me, "Love, nimekonda hivi?" She had lost a lot of weight, and I got so emotional and asked her, "Love, this is what we're gonna do. Can you believe in what I'm telling you?" "Yes, these mirrors, let them not speak to you. I'm your husband. And what I tell you is what you'll believe." I took the loose covers of the seats in the apartment. I covered all the mirrors in the apartment. And I told her, "Listen to me. You're beautifully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
You're still beautiful. You're still the girl I married."
I love that, because you have to encourage her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened in India? Did you manage to get any help?
In India, of course, doctors will tell you the truth as it is. Of course, some things they will not tell you when the patient is there. So when we went, we were referred to a surgeon in Northwest Hospital in India. And I think he was called Chongsu. And that guy told us, "I'm among the best 2 surgeons in the world, and no one can operate this thing. We need to go back to chemotherapy." And this referred us back to Apollo Hospital. I went there, and the lead doctor told us, "Brian, you have done all the treatments, and we are here." He told me we are at the edge. I said, what is that supposed to mean? "The best chemotherapies you have already been given back in your country. So I can only give your wife a chemotherapy we give old people to just prolong their lives." And I told him, what are you trying to say? That Liz is dying? She looked at me, and he looked at me and did not give me an answer. So they began the treatment. It was a pill. So they could put it in some water, and she's given. Of course, your time, Liza is cooler. So alikuwa amewekwa a pipe. So I was feeding her through syringe and all that. So treatment continued, and after 1 month, of course, I had to travel back, to fly back to the country to take care of work. We needed to keep the goodwill with our employer. Of course, herself, because of the condition, the employer was lenient enough to just allow her to. That was God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put together documents for my mother, her mom, to come to India. Then I fly back. So I showed mom what to do here and there, the hospital, where the billing is, the person to go to. There's a person who takes care of Kenyan patients in India. So I traveled back. So while I'm here, the doctor called me. And the doctor told me that, "Brian, when you are here, your wife used to take a few days to recover when she's admitted, right? She used to take 2 days. Now she's taking 2 weeks. And we are not happy with what we are seeing. Now you have to come for her." And I'm asking them, what is happening? They told me, "Unfortunately, Brian, your wife cannot get healed. And we are sorry to tell you that she only has 3 months to live." You see, as a young person, this is so hard for me to take, And I told them, "What are you trying to say? Like, there's nothing that can be done." Then they said, "Yeah, just come for her." I dilly-dallied because my wife was willing to fight and finish the treatment. 2 weeks later, they called me and they told me, "Brian, it's not a request. Come for your wife. Because if you don't," I remember them telling me that how expensive it is to transfer someone who is dead from a foreign land. And it's against their policy to keep someone in a foreign soil in that stages of their life with that chronic illness. So it was now approaching our anniversary, November 2021. And they told me, "Just look for a way. What you can tell your wife for her to agree to come back home. You can tell her that the palliative care that is happening can be done back in Kenya." And so at the same time, there was a healing conference in our church. So I used our anniversary and the conference to convince her that we need to go back. Let me tell you, Wairimo came back crying. I remember us landing at JKIA and the girl was in tears. She went and she came back worse than she left. Because when we were going to India, alikuwa anaongea. Akirudi, hiyo tumor ilikuwa ishatoboa shimo hapa hivi. So akiongea, alikuwa anaongea like upepo inaingililia hapa, so hawezi pronounce words. So we were like chatting, ndo tuweze kuelewana. So ananiambia, I remember akiniandikia, I'm coming back worse than I left. And that touched me as a husband. We landed, of course, our people were waiting for us, our family, and all that, and we came. We attended the conference, and the girl was prayed for. The next day after the conference, she has a bloated stomach. We rush her to Nairobi Hospital, and she's given medication. She's now able to, because hizo ma painkillers zinafanya tumbo bloat, so haizi enda choo, na pia blood pressure iko chini, haizi push and all that. So ikabidi sasa the doctors in Nairobi Hospital, they don't know her, they don't have the history, so we had to take her back to Aga Khan. So we were back, hospital home after every week. And I remember March, starting of March, Lizali bleed. Nimetoka tu nimeenda job. Naona mama ananipigia. Every time nilikuwa naona simu ya mama nilikuwa na panic. So mama alinipigia simu na nikuchukua. Mama alikuwa anapiga nduru, ananiambia ita Uber, Liza na bleed. The girl lost like 2 liters of blood. Na hiyo blood sasa ikafunika. So she was like dying. Aliadmitiwa Aga Khan for 2 weeks na tukaenda home. Yeah, so tukaamua to change hospital because now we were also running short of
the finances.
Because also the insurance walikuwa washaanza kuniambia, Bran, the way things are looking, we don't want you to find yourself in a place where we can't support you. We are proposing you some equally good hospitals but cheaper, where whatever lease is being given here can be given. And they proposed to us a hospital, which I took Liz Avenue. And I took Liz to Avenue, and the doctor saw her. That was on the 15th of March, 2023. That day, the doctor gave us some medication. We went home. Let me tell you, you're 15, tumefika home 16th, 17th, Liz is not talking to me. Ananitisha tu food. Ananiuliza, mimi ni wanani? Wewe ni nani? That question was crushing me. Because ameanza kupoteza memory. Namwambia, babe, I'm your husband. Namwambia, babe, nakupenda. Ni chat. She's not talking. On Saturday, on that Friday sasa tumeamuka, and she's now hata amezima. Haitishi food, haitishi dawa, haitishi anything. Tukampeleka Avenue. That Friday evening akaadmitiwa. So kuadmitiwa, alipitishwa tu hapo, akapelekwa ICU because hakukuwa na HDU. It was not a case of ICU. Madaktari wakasema juu hakuna vitanda HDU, tunampeleka wapi? ICU. Siko najua that the last day I'm seeing that girl. So tumeenda home, ameadmitiwa na tumeenda home. Tukaambiwa ana blood. Tuchangamke asubuhi, twende tu ama O positive. So nilikuwa najua nita. So asubuhi tumejipanga twende kutoa blood. Nilipigiwa simu around 4 AM na daktari akaniambia, Liz is not responding. We've been trying to resuscitate her since 3 and she's not responding. And since you did not sign, there is a form, patient akifika hizo levels. As a caregiver, you need a primary caregiver as a husband. You have to sign. Inamaanisha, inasemaga, if my patient, the organs fail, don't take her to life support. Ukisign against that, watamwangalia tu adedi. If the kidneys fail, do not dialyze. Don't put her in a dialysis. Ukisign. So mimi nilikataa kusign. Nisema no. If my girl gets those levels, do what you can to just ensure that don't look at her to die. So nilipomtoa Aga Khan, of course Liza alikuwa shaambia madaktari wa Aga Khan, I don't want to leave my husband in debt. She has done so much for me. Don't. So she had told the doctors, don't put me in those machines. And you see, the doctor will follow the will of the patient. Primarily. Secondary, caregiver. So mine was overwritten. So when I took her to Avenue, I knew that has been scrapped off. And let me tell you, God just honored her wish, because when they called me, they told me, we are trying to resuscitate her, but we can't do it because you have not signed. Or rather, if you don't sign, you give them a blank check. Do what you can to make her live. You understand? So they were telling, it's good we run this through you, that we just ask you, do we proceed? Do we proceed and put Liz on life support? Do we proceed and put Liz on dialysis? Do we proceed and put Liz on all this? I told them, proceed, please. Proceed, and I'm on my way. Hiyo time nisha prepare, nilikuwa nimelala na msistangu na my friend, so we were 3 of us. Tumechukua cab, so tulikuwa kwa barabara around Kangemi tukienda. Let me tell you, walinipigia simu, akaniambia, umefika wapi? Niambia, I'm 10 minutes away. Tulifika the same with my brother-in-law and the family, because walikuwa wamelala kwa nyumba ingine pia wao. Tulifika, then the doctor starts. You know, when we called you, we had tried to do this. We had tried to do this. We had tried to do this. We tried to put a life support through the mouth. It refused. Where is this conversation going? Then we tried to cut the throat so that we get the pipe of breathing through here, because now we could not get it through here because the tumor's blocked.
The mouth, yeah.
And by the time we are cutting the throat, Liz was... no one could take that. No one could take that. And we just wanted to see, where is the body? Where is Liz?
Yeah.
And she opens for us the door, and I find my wife, her body lying there, and, you know, blood, because when they are trying to resuscitate, of course, sometimes you can injure the lungs and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
what was going through your mind since the phone call at 4 a.m.? What was going through your mind the whole time?
Let me tell you, at some point, some bigger part of me was like, this girl might be gone. But the resilient guy who was waiting to see Liz healed was still saying, no, I rebuke you. Part of me was saying, when I get.
Yeah.
But the doctor calls you and tells you things, and you are, no. Whatever this conversation is, something is happening. Yeah, and we got there. The body was still warm. I do like this, and the eyes seems like they're seeing me, and I tell the doctor, no, there's something you can do. This girl is still alive. And within 5 minutes, we're holding her, and she's becoming cold, and she begins, she's not there. And I still have my ring.
I think the thing that makes me so sad about the entire situation is you never got to really celebrate your marriage. Both you and Liz, you never really got to... Sasa, how have we gotten here? How have we gotten to the point where... Do you guys remember Brian at the beginning of the show? Smiling, happy. How have you gotten to the point of healing? Because 2023 is very recent. Right now we're in 2025. Yeah. It's less than 2 years, I believe.
Yeah.
So how have you gotten to the point of accepting, healing, and continuing to live regardless of everything?
Let me tell you, it's been a tough journey. It's been a tough journey because Liz is dead, right? We take her to the morgue, Mona Lisa, Montezuma or something. Then after a week, I lay her to rest. Like, I'm still believing that this girl is not gone. I was telling God, no. We've been praying. Like, I remember putting together like 30 scriptures for Liz. I tell her that we will keep speaking these scriptures. I remember one specifically, that I put before you life and death. Choose life. And I was telling her, I choose life for you. How is she dead? So I believed when I saw the coffin go down in soil. Then I went there the next day. I built, because I buried her in Langata. She had already told me to bury her in Langata on the 22nd of December, 2022. And I told her, I'm not burying you in Langata. You're not going nowhere. The caregivers will always live in that.
Yeah.
So it's been a tough journey. 5 months, I did not go to church. I was feeling God was unfair, right? I was feeling like, God umenipea msichana, nimempata kwa madhabahu. Tumekutrust with money for our wedding. God sorted our wedding debt-free. Liz needed money for treatment, debt-free. That girl did not leave me with any debt.
And that was a lot. You spent upwards of 10 million for the treatment.
Between 9 and 11 million. But God did not, even the last bill at Avenue, it was sorted. I was not. So I'm here asking God, ume provide kila kitu, then you call her. Do you think about me? You understand those questions we are in as children of God? And for 5 months, I was just in my house. I moved houses. Our Kalito sister Angela came to stay with me. Aliniambia, I remember kwa mazishi akisema, you will not die. I will come. She left her house to come and stay with me. I commend her for that. she stayed with me for 1 year until she got married.
Yeah.
And for those 5 months, I remember one man I honor with everything I have. I'm so indebted to him. He's called Pastor Jakes. We had known one another, I think, late 2022, early 2023, because he had now joined our church from GCC, from another church. And he came and told me, bro, we will cry and sing. And I asked him, how? How, man? How does the future look for me?
Yeah.
And he told me, bro, we will cry and sing. You remember the song we sang? Because there is a song I'd sang, I'm More Than a Conqueror, and we sang together. I gave him the microphone. We were like collaborating in our church. And I told him, you're more than a conqueror. We shall sing in that altar and sing. So that, and cry. So at the same time, I went back to, so I decided to go back to, he told me, let's meet in church on Sunday. And he
So after 5 months,
after 5 months,
finally went back.
That Sunday of going back to church, I was contemplating not going. I saw his text, and he told me, Bran, I'm praying for you. We are going. And I saw this guy he has me in the spirit. God is using him to. And I went to church. I sat at the tent, the back seat of the tent. And God sent a young man, and that young prophet told me, you look like you lost a loved one. You lost something so precious to you. I showed him my wedding ring. I told him, I lost my wife. And he told me, God is saying that he will give you peace. I got irritated. Why would you give me peace and you had a chance to heal her?
Yeah.
You understand the questions you have to a father.
I
don't want peace. I want So what happened is that the next Sunday, I knew that I can't hide from my father. I can't hide from God. Many of us hide. But when you hide, you just allow the devil to just steal you and crush you, just isolate you. See how I love watching animals documentaries. A lion will isolate to crush you. So the next Sunday I said, I can't run away from him.
Yeah.
I was in the sanctuary. I could not stay at a tent.
Yeah.
That day, the pastor who was preaching was Prophet Cindy Jacobs. And I remember specifically something she said. She lost her sister to cancer. And she said, and she stopped trusting God for people's healing. And God asked her, why did you stop trusting me for other people's healing? Allow your sister to rest with me and
continue
hope again.
Work.
That was my word. That I can allow my Wairimo to rest. And I hope again.
I love that. And you see, sir, that's also translated to what you're doing right now with Bliss Foundation. Yeah. So how are you feeling today as we wrap up the show? Tell us also what, just briefly, what the foundation is all about, how we can find you and support you in any way. Yeah,
well, right now, I think I'm somewhere. God is just, I had to allow God to walk with me because He knows my future. Let me tell you, when I look, a few months ago when I could look, you see, you know Mirage, when on a tarmac road, when you see there is water. Then when you're walking, it keeps moving. That is what I was seeing. Like, what is in the future for me, God? But as I partner with Him, I'm seeing birthing of a foundation whereby we are spreading love and hope that you can go through stuff and still rise again. You can bury and birth. You can lose a business and reconstruct and just allow God to pick up those pieces and just make them something. Understand? Yeah. So this year, being a year of rebuilding, I decided to partner with the Holy Spirit because He has been my friend. He has been what a friend we have in Him. So he and as I partner with Him, He's showing me that there is something for you to be done. The girl ran her race. It's now time. And
for you to do it.
I remember last week Him telling me something which I wrote. Tragedy is not when you go through stuff. Tragedy is when you allow what you've gone through deter you from realizing what lays ahead.
I love that.
Understand?
Yeah.
So sometimes we wallow in our pain and our past and we forget that there's still some ground to be covered.
There is a lot.
And that ground cannot be covered by you alone. You need people. I've talked about that man of God who has surrounded me with so much love. Jakes, you know, he has been like my father.
I love also when you talk about the quote, when I think about what's happening currently in the country, tragedy is not what happens.
Yeah.
It's about allowing what happens to affect who we are.
Exactly.
And to get into our souls and affect our person.
Yeah.
So I really love that. Let me end it on that note, because that's a beautiful place to end it.
Yeah.
But tell us where we can get you on socials, our viewers, if maybe on platforms on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. If you have a number, maybe you can share and we can reach out after.
Okay. So for to find me, I'm documenting my story to just reach out to people through a YouTube channel. I stopped recording due to some reasons, but one of you in the team just came and is helping me to just finalize documenting the story. I'm running a YouTube channel called Brian Bliss, where we spread love and hope after loss.
I love that.
So if you go to YouTube and you search Brian Bliss, you'll be able to find me. You can subscribe. Let's spread love and hope. Bliss Impact is it's just a charity kind of a thing whereby I look forward. I've just started. Actually, I'm working on my web presence, my website, blissimpact.org. So if you go there, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be launching my website. So what we want to do generally just to work with couples who are going through such a season or even tougher ones.
Yeah.
You know, because some of us, if I did not have people I could talk to, it could have been tough.
It would
so
have
can
been.
we have a secure place whereby a man or rather a couple can come? Because if I can go back to someone, the doctors in Aga Khan said 50% of couple who go, and one of them is diagnosed with such a serious chronic illness, the next chemotherapy session, one of them does not come. So can we stick together?
Support.
Can we stick together even during the journey?
And that's exactly what Bliss Impact
Exactly.
does. I really love that. So we'll check out blissimpact.org and then Brian Bliss on YouTube. Let us follow him, subscribe.
Yeah.
I really love this story. It's very impactful. Unfortunately, the time yetu imesonga. But the thing I'm taking away from your story is, regardless of the pain, you get to decide how you use the pain.
Yeah.
You get to decide what you do about that, whatever is going on. Because your story does not end when a tragic thing happens.
Yeah.
It's up to you to decide how you continue. I really love that. And I hope you take that away from Brian this evening, because we're going through a lot as a country. We are in mourning. And tragedy does not mean whatever you've gone through. It's about you allowing whatever has gone through and everywhere around to affect you. That is my takeaway from the conversation. Follow him, reach out, support, and also follow us at Y254 to get updates. We're going to be live again next week, Thursday evening, 7:10 to 8:10. And we'll also have this on YouTube, so check it out there. I'll see you guys next Thursday.